Representative Baker?
Explain my vote.
Proceed.
I'm a yes. You come here today and ask us to trust you, and you came here a year ago saying that you would adopt a policy that upheld the law that we had passed, and you defied that law. It's hard to take you seriously, so I support this wholeheartedly.
Our final question comes from Co-Chair Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Pollio, it sounds like you have an aggressive agenda, a lot to work on in the coming months ahead. Your community is much different than mine. The weapons detection system, something I don't know that we have it at our schools. I guess it's new in your district. But trying to limit this to one question, what are the if I imagine it is an issue, people bringing weapons to school, what are the consequences to something like that? What are the repercussions, the challenges within the school, and what you might face for students who disobey with that?
Yeah, so first and foremost, obviously, it is to reduce or eliminate guns in schools. I mean, there's no, well, really, we should say guns anywhere. I think no matter what our belief about guns, I think we could all agree that a child should not have a gun in their backpack at school. I mean, I think everybody can agree to that. And so first and foremost, it's preventing that from happening. So when that does happen and we have to take consequences or actions, first of all, we have a Jefferson County Public School Police Department that, we correspond with LMPD, and then charges are the responsibility of LMPD, but nearly every single time that does occur. And then we follow our code of conduct, which almost always means, unless it's a special ed student, and there are separate laws around special education and least restrictive environment that goes to the ARC committee. But they are placed in an alternative school, even the special ed students, for a number of days. But students are placed in an alternative school for at least one calendar year.
Okay. So obviously there are consequences to disregarding what the rules are.
Yes.
And you know where I'm going with this. Just recently, this body passed Senate Bill 150. We did it for the betterment and for the protection of the children in our care, the children in your school system, and your board completely disregarded that legislation that was passed. So you have sidestepped the law and said you're just not going to follow it. I want to read here what the resolution says so the people in this audience, the people in this body can understand what JCPS has chosen to do. It says the district shall provide access to resources that are specifically responsive to gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation. The district shall allow students and staff to use requested names and pronouns. The district and school shall incorporate LGBTQ people and issues in school curricula. The district will not reveal a student's transgender status to parents. Parents will be granted access to official school records if requested. That brings me to the question, I'm not going to ask you the question, if there are shadow records. Parents should never be kept in the dark. Parents should always be aware of what's going on with their child. They are responsible if their child brings a gun to school. They are responsible the behavior that's going on with their kid and the challenges they may face. They are the decision makers for their kids, not your school system. And for you guys to disregard the law that we have passed is completely irresponsible, and it sets a bad precedent for the students in your care. You have 98,000 students in your district. Should they follow your rules if you won't follow the rules that are set before you? I would say yes, they should. But you need to set the example of doing what's right by following the law. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Give you a moment if you'd like to comment.
Well, I'll just say this. I mean, we have, I'm a social studies teacher. So when I was a social studies teacher, we have a legislative branch and an executive branch. There is no doubt our job as the executive branch is to propose policies to our board, and our board is the legislative branch that passes that. Right now, I mean, there's a very divided board. There is no doubt about it. I can't speak for all 7 board members because they have very different voices. There are the ones who have made the decision to this point where they could not agree on a policy. We're working on that. We will pass a policy that follows state law. But once again, I'm the executive branch of the side of this government, so to speak, in school education. My job is to propose and make a recommendation. That's what I did. So we'll continue to work with our Board of Education. I'll once again say I don't have a vote in that matter. But this is the governance model that we have with schools. And so very difficult issue, very challenging issue that we are being pulled in many directions by our community, but we are continuing to do the work so that we can pass a policy.
At this time, is there a motion to receive a report regarding board policies to implement Senate Bill 150? The motion passes 5-2.
And you came here a year ago saying that you would adopt a policy that upheld the law that we had passed, and you defied that law. It's hard to take you seriously, so I support this wholeheartedly.